Hello my fellow Retromaniacs and welcome to Let's Read Video Games, the ultimate gaming magazine. So last time I read Games Master, that was UK based gaming magazine, but this is based in Beverly Hills, USA. So I guess we're gonna get a little bit different emphasis. And the magazine was originally called Video Games and Computer Entertainment, but it changed its name starting from September 1993 into Video Games, the Ultimate Gaming Magazine, and dropped computer game coverage. So yeah, I could probably check the earlier aerial issues, but since I'm mostly like a console gamer, I'm too much interested in old computer games. That's why I'm gonna start reading when they changed to cover console games. So yeah, 1993. So we've got new Super NES, Genesis, Turbo Duo, Neo Geo, Game Gear, Game Boy, Atari Lynx, PC and 3DO. So we've got Mortal Kombat, free tips, hyper reviews, Super NES, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Rock'n'Roll Racing, Final Fight 2, F-15, Strike Eagle, Jurassic Park, Bart's Nightmare, Strider Returns, Tesseract, Syndicate, Rags to Riches, Johnny Quest, Ren beats Stimpy, and you can too on the Super NES. Shut up, you idiot! Ren and Stimpy. That's one of my favorite cartoons when I was like 12 years old. They're just so retarded, especially Stimpy. Okay. With that Sven Hoke episode where Stimpy's just drooling and then goes to his errands. His errands being getting kicked by a horse. I'm sick of your tomfoolery! Yeah, so great episode, Sven Hoke. Especially when Ren loses it. He gets so angry that he becomes calm and threatens Stimpy and Sven. But yeah, that's about TV shows. I don't know if they were like dedicated magazines that covered like episodes from cartoons like Simpsons or whatnot. Probably. But yeah, this is about video games. Previews. This is Aladdin. Cool new games. CSS. Game Gear, Game Genie. Right. Get a grip. Davis Cup Tennis. Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of like adverts about like baseball games, NFL games, more about hockey than what you would see in Great Britain based gaming magazines. And less focus on British gaming companies like Psygnosis or Ocean. With this Robo Aleste Sega CD. Okay, shmup. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Critically acclaimed Game Boy Game Pro magazine. I think I tried this, or did I? Yeah, I think I died immediately. It's a rather difficult game. Engage! Captain Jean-Luc Picard welcomes you, a top-rated cadet at Starfleet Academy, to the most intense training session you'll ever experience, the Advanced Holodeck Tutorial. The Holodeck's computer simulations put you at the helm of the Galaxy-class Starship Enterprise. Wait a second, it's not supposed to take place in Enterprise, but it's just a simulation. Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter if you fail. I guess it's like then explained in universe that okay, whatever you do, it's just simulation. It doesn't affect the canon. Okay, we got Sega CD as well. Cool spot, Nigel Mansell's racing. Computer games. Yeah, since this was the first issue that I think contained video game console reviews, I think there's gonna be some bias probably within the reviewers who probably think themselves as hardcore PC gamers, and now they have to they are forced to review these casual kids games. So yeah, maybe their ratings will be a little bit worse than some other magazines. I don't know. This color scheme just screams 90s. I can almost hear a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air themes playing on my head just by looking at this like turquoise and pink color. Yeah, and people were also wearing clothes that had these colors. Jay Leno looks like Jay Leno on the page. What in the fucking hell are you doing reading this page? Now what I have your most devoted and focused attention, I'd like to say hello, introduce myself as the new executive editor. And no, I'm not going to have a picture of some guy who looks like Jay Leno on this page. You see, above this unusual text is representative of the change in both the leadership and the evolution of our magazine. That is, the hiring of a madly insane and deranged staff. Only kidding, or maybe I'm not. I'd also like to welcome aboard a new editor-in-chief, Chris Gore. Chris brings with him his creative genius, which has made many of our parent company's publications successfully. In the next few months together we intend to create and fine-tune an electronic gaming mag that is visually exciting and cutting edge, not insulting to your intelligence, and definitely not boring. The most obvious change is the name of the magazine from Video Games and Computer Entertainment to VideoGames. Hold on, allow me to calm all your computer game enthusiasts down. We will continue to cover and support computer games as before, only better. But after all, aren't electronic games, whether console or computer, both video games? Now that I've heartwarmed you with my cheery opening editorial, I'd like to move to some messages. Okay. Yeah, I wonder if some subscribers were like, fuck this, I'm gonna stop subscribing this magazine, because you know there used to be like some kind of like faction hatred, you know, people who played only on like computers, and for them consoles were like kids' toys, and vice versa, people who played on consoles thought that PC gaming is like for nerds or like adults. So it was quite a hard split in terms of the audience. So I guess when they made this change, they probably angered a lot of like more mature readers. But I can understand that they want to sell the magazine, so they want money by having like Sonic or Mario in the cover instead of some obscure Amiga games or PC game. And you know, this was like 1993, so many computers were like dying. Amiga was dying, and you know, Commodore 64 and Sinclair and Amstrad, they had been dead for years by now, so you just couldn't have a magazine. Well, you could have a magazine that was dedicated for PC, but you wouldn't have that much content compared to if you had also console games included. But yeah. For me it's more interesting to read. I might check the earlier issues to see what kind of things they covered when they didn't cover any console games. I wonder if they even could, you know, have a console game ads in the magazine, because if, you know, for sure these would pay more when you have a cool, like the Simpsons Genesis ad full page instead of like trying to have an ad for like Dungeons and Dragons or Caesar Civilization. So yeah, this would sell so much better. So I think it was completely a market decision. Reader mail. I'm listening to Bomberman 64 soundtrack. The snow level, because it's winter now. Very cold, over -20 Celsius outside at the moment. Megabits. Oh, wait a second, Turbo Duo had more colors than Super NES. Interesting. I didn't know about that. You have to some of these like old magazines you have to read with a spoon of salt. How do you say it? Tip of salt, because it might be like incorrect, just rumors. And many of these writers were not too like technically educated. They were just gamers. They didn't have like a university level of computer science degree usually. Otherwise they wouldn't be writing for a gaming magazine, being underpaid. CD, boom or doom? Recently a disc jockey friend and I were discussing new audio equipment coming out. He said he was considering buying a recordable CD machine for his business. Being the manager of a video game and a computer software store, I'm concerned as to what effect these machines will have on the sale of CD-based software and hardware. It seems to me that rampant piracy would literally kill the fledgling CD market. Maybe it has to change to experience its full potential. Yeah, it kind of did, actually. On the other hand, what happened is that people started sharing the files over the internet, tracking them. But, you know, it wasn't too much different to what happened to like Commodore 64 or Amiga that were pirated as well. Do any of the major companies like Sega and Internet TI see this as new technology as impeding Doom, or are steps being taken to make video game CDs compatible with the recorders? Yeah, again, Nintendo at least kind of had somewhat like overreaction about the piracy by sticking with the cartridges, because that was the reason it lost the battle against Sony so clearly. If Nintendo had used CDs, you know, it would have probably had all the third-party games as Sony. It would probably have more RPGs. It would have seen Final Fantasy, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil. So yeah, it was the biggest misjudgment by Nintendo not to embrace CD and staying on cartridges. I mean, there were other like reasons, like loading times and so, but I think it was mostly about the reaction of being afraid of piracy. Game Boy with colors. How is that? Countless issues over the past year have shown Game Boy pictures altered to enhance the image. How many times I have seen blue, yellow, and shades of brown on the Game Boy? Well, it's a Super Game Boy, isn't it? While you're subscribing your subscription for the now the Game Boys into color system, don't they? With that in mind, we tint Game Boy screens that go in the magazine along with any other black and white images, because they look pretty boring in a color magazines. They not fake, but rather are made more pleasing to the reader. Sorry if you thought we were trying to put one over on you. Oh, okay. Well, I don't agree. I agree with the reader that you shouldn't alter the graphics, you know, at all. I wonder when was the first time they started talking about Sony being a video game market. Like, I think the first rumors about Nintendo CD system, like SNES CD by Sony, it was like around 1994. So at this time nobody knew what would happen in the future. But yeah, it was stupid knee-jerk reaction by Nintendo. Just get rid of the CD. I mean, I understand that they tried with Philips CDI, published some games with that, and well, the games sucked, but just because the games sucked and CDI was a shitty gaming platform, it didn't mean that it should be like what video games on CD would be in the future. So yeah, I think the bad experience from CDI was one of the reasons that Nintendo had a knee-jerk reaction and like got rid of the idea of using CDs. Yeah, and you know, we had this like Mega CD and 3DO and Jaguar CD, those full motion video games, they were just poor. So I guess the people in Nintendo just thought that okay, we don't want to be associated with those shitty games that you have seen on Sega CD or 3DO or CD32. Yeah, it wasn't until, you know, PlayStation had like Gran Turismo and other great games like Final Fantasy VII that people actually learned how to take advantage of the CD's capacity and not use them for like stupid full motion videos, but just make everything like better, like have better. You know, even Final Fantasy VII, it didn't have CD audio. It used MIDI. All the space was used for the pre-rendered graphics, the backgrounds mostly, and a long game. So yeah, it was just depended on the development team who knew how to take advantage of the CD in the right way. And I guess Nintendo was just afraid that their game library would be filled with shovelware, and it was tarnished their reputation of, you know, Nintendo seal of quality. So yeah, I guess there's been like whole books about why Nintendo stuck with the cartridge with Nintendo 64, but that's my 2 cents. Okay, we got Turbo Duo. Yeah, Games Master didn't even cover any PC Engine games. I guess the whole console wasn't even released in Europe, so that makes sense. And 3DO, I think that was also kind of not a big thing in Europe, nor was Atari Jaguar, although I think Atari Jaguar wasn't released until like 1994 or something. And Philips CDI, I don't know if it was already out, but yeah, it would be interesting to read some of those reviews, like The Legend of Zelda, CDI games, which I have never played. I should play them at some point, even though they suck, but I guess nowadays there's like remastered versions on PC ports that have some quality of life improvements, although I would like to play on an emulator that allows rewinding and save states. So what do we have? More like rumors. What is this game? Shadowrun. Okay, yeah, I think I tried this already. Bugsy, Psygnosis, Sega Genesis. I think Bugsy is a pretty good game. Vectrex is alive and well and living on the internet. Internet mentioned. This is 1993, so yeah, this was before World Wide Web, I think. FTP and BBS channels, maybe like AOL as well. Public domain and complete giant binary file that can be found on several netcodes. Yeah, nowadays we have some like Vectrex, like mini consoles, but they're just like LCD screens, so it's not the same thing. Wait a second. That is supposed to be from the previous issues. I thought the previous issues didn't even cover console games. I don't know. Or maybe they had some kind of transition that they started covering console games even before the name change. I don't know. Microprose towards merger. Claim gets multiple agreements. WWF. Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Mortal Kombat was like everywhere. It was such a big thing. Even though I was never a fan of it, I was Street Fighter 2 fan. I didn't have Mortal Kombat games when I was growing up. Only Street Fighter 2. Gauntlet 4 already. I haven't even heard of Gauntlet 3, although I think I played at least some of them. Needed revamps popular NES console. I think, yeah, I've seen this top loader model, although I don't think it has that kind of weird controller. This must be some kind of prototype version. Wonder Mega RGM2. Okay. So it's like Sega CD. Or what is this? Is this Wonder Swan? What is this? I have to check this. Never heard of Wonder Mega console. Okay, it's combined Sega Mega Drive and Sega Mega CD. Got it. It's like a, because there's Wonder Swan as well. I was like Wonder Swan never was never released as a console. It was only a handheld. Video. Yeah, video was about to die completely. It was too expensive. Oh, wait a second, it wasn't even released by then. It's on schedule. Full hardware release. Yeah, there were some good games like, you know, Gex. But yeah, mostly the games sucked. Super Mario Bros. 3. Wait a second. Retail price under $50. Man, what a catch. Cheers, Woody Harrelson. White man can jump. Okay. Haven't seen the movie. Young Video Gaming Chronicles. Oh, it's like... It's taking back to the past. Pac-Man and E.T. Oh. What a diarrhea dump that game was. Shovelware. Yeah, the term was already out in the 80s. The company dumped game cartridges such as E.T. and Pac-Man in a New Mexico landfill nearly 100 miles away. Yeah, that's the AVGN movie story there. The premise of the story. Company's security guard was assigned to keep an eye on the destruction. Landfill contractors were paid extra thousands of dollars to dump the defective merchandise. The city dump was located less than 50 miles away from the Atari El Paso plant. The fact that New Mexico had a law forbidding scavenging in landfills while Texas did not was a point conveniently overlooked by the company. I wonder if it was really true. Economy to create games domestically. Wait a second. That's the game. I know the game, but I can't remember the title. Yeah. VideoGames. WWF. Yeah, you can easily tell that this is a US magazine because you have like sports games in the top. Coin Up Arcades, virtual racing. Well, that was really like futuristic to have this kind of 3D graphics in 1993 until Sega Rally and Daytona USA came out and Ridge Racer. Mario is missing. I didn't even notice. I think many people actually bought this without knowing that it's an edutainment game. They were like, Mario is missing, a new game by Nintendo. Wow, it's like Super Mario World 2. That must be the only explanation why it's in second place on this list. So many games were probably then like, oh man, I want my money back. False advertisement, false advertising, even though I don't think it was advertised at all. Super Mario Land 2, I think that was already quite an old game by then. But it wasn't Zelda. Link's Adventure already out. Link's Awakening out. I wonder when Super Metroid came out, maybe like late 1993 or early 1994. X-Wing. Prince of Persia. We had like different categories for IBM and Macintosh. What we have here, top tips and tricks. Okay, Mortal Kombat. Combat codes, NHL PA hockey. It was a little bit confusing why the first NHL was called NHL PA. Why? I thought the game. Thought we saw. What does the PA stands for? Probably it was the official name anyway. House of Thunder for Super Duo TurboGrafx 16. What kind of games this is? It's a shmup. Batman Returns for Sega CD. I think this is actually quite good game. It's arcade port. I think James and Mike played it. Cool spot. Pocky and Rocky. Natsume for Super NES. I don't even know what this game is about. Just like some kind of a sports game. Shooter games. Bomberman for TurboGrafx. Lots of Thunder. Sound test. Oh, they got a wrong code. Incorrect explanation. Game Genie Goats Panic Restaurant. And they're a little bit they're wasting space because they're putting these in like tilted angle. So I guess they're like saving the writing. You know, they could easily like put all this information on one page with the smaller font. No tilting and no images, but now they want to waste space so they can get more pages on their magazine. Old trick. Even today, you know, like newspapers and magazines, you can tell that sometimes they put like huge pictures there and just a little bit text like in a box, because it's just saving time for not needing to write long text articles. Colors of Modern Rock Sega CD. It's just one of those first full motion video games probably. T2 the arcade game. Look at that. These right down R button, right up and right. And you probably wanna how you gonna play this game at the same time and watch these, follow these at the same time. For sure you're probably gonna either misread or just mess up while playing the game. Maybe they expect that, you know, it's like your brother reads the orders and you play the game. Dual turbo. I never had any like turbo controller. I had a third-party N64 controller, but it didn't have turbo buttons. Tiny Toon Adventures, Buster's Hidden Treasure. I think Tiny Toon games are actually quite good. At least Tiny Toon Adventures on NES is a very solid 8-bit game. Star Fox. Crashed the game. Beta testing isn't as easy as it sounds, especially for cartridge games. The companies don't have the luxury of being able to issue a patch file if someone stumbles upon a boo-boo in the program. Cards have to get it right the first time, but do they always? Heck no, and we present this crash bug as proof. Play through level 1 stage 1 core near the base and collect a full load of 5 Nova bombs. Stage 2 asteroid belt, about a fourth of the way through is an enemy jumping between 2 asteroids with a Nova bomb between them. Shoot a Nova bomb just before you pick up the bomb between the asteroids. The game crashes just after the bomb goes off. The music continues to play normally, but the screen has completely frozen. The only way to unfreeze it is the old reset switch. Interesting. But sometimes that they actually patched, because some games have like multiple releases, like even like ROMs, they have info after the ROM file that it's like release 1, release 2. And sometimes, you know, different regions had bugs fixed. So Japanese version has bugs that are not in US version, and US version has bugs that are not in European versions. So, but yeah, it's absolutely right that you couldn't patch those games after the release, which was better, because nowadays every time you start a game you have to like patch it. I'm not sure. Maybe, well, you are not forced to patch. You can play the bugged version, but still, it was simpler back in the 90s without internet. And usually the games didn't have big game breaking, soft locking bugs, and even here, you know, how many players actually got or accidentally stumbled into this game crashing bug. I don't know. Adam's Family, Buxley, Scavenger Hunt, The Blues Brothers, Tailspin, Steel, or TurboGrafx. In many TurboGrafx games already. And that's another console I haven't played too much. I should play more TurboGrafx. Actually, you know. I think I've only played like a couple of I don't know, shmup games or Castlevania games. Yeah, I always thought that, you know, the games on TurboGrafx are like just some weird Japanese games or shmup games. So I don't know if there's like any grand adventure type of games on TurboGrafx, like you know, Zelda. Maybe some RPG games, I don't know. What is this? Seventh Quest. Oh wait, okay, yeah, I know the game. I haven't played. I'm not good at these puzzle kinds of games. You know, I like Myst, and I just get stuck immediately, and then I try to brute force it and then give up. You know, when I play video games, I don't want to use my brain. Just want to relax. Wow, Alien 3 makes the game look better than it is. Well, I think this is actually some kind of good game as well. Piano. Memory test. Just the notes being played and play them back in the same order. Total of 18 times. Jeez. Yeah, these kind of games where you have to like memorize things. It's just fucking annoying. Chess puzzle. It seems the whole game is about solving puzzles and some kind of like brain teasers. Okay. What is this? World Heroes. Oh, yeah, this is the Street Fighter 2 clone by Sunsoft. We even have like M. Bison character here. It's just like Sunsoft, you know, it's a respectable company, so I don't know why they actually approved that clear like clone game. Okay, previews. Stimpy, idiots! Hang on, you eyeballs! America's favorite dog and cat are finally coming to the Super NES this fall. Ren and Stimpy, idiots! 4 original episodes of the TV show in the army. Yeah, that's one of my favorite episodes. Especially when they, you know, Ren gets sleep deprived and starts to hallucinate, and like I'm the keeper of the cheese, and what was the line? Don't worry, little missy. I'll rescue you before he sets the marmosets. But yeah, I think all Ren and Stimpy games are actually pretty horrible. Not worth playing. Yeah, they clearly just wanted to do a quick cash grabs with Ren and Stimpy. And that was usually the problem with licensed games, that they were more like cash grabs. Just try to sell with the name, and the gameplay was either it was just like copied from some other games. Usually they were just some lousy platformers with some lousy puzzles, and usually they controlled badly. The only exceptions were like Disney games, that like Aladdin, that were well done. But usually licensed game was like big explanation mark that stay away from this game. Mortal Kombat on Game Boy. Jeez. Samurai Showdown. Yeah, it's another Street Fighter 2 clone. Similar popular zoom feature as in Art of Fighting. Yeah, this. I don't know how many like Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat clones there are. If you count them all, it's probably more than 20 or 30 games. Just try to like utilize the popularity of those two games, and wanted to make a similar enough game that would fool some parent to buy that game for their children for Christmas. And then they would be, Mom, this is not Street Fighter 2. Oh, Johnny, it looks like the game you described. Yeah, but it looks the same and it has almost the same characters, but it's not Street Fighter 2. F1 by Domark. Sega Genesis. Yeah, Formula 1 was not a big thing in the United States. They were always interested in NASCAR and IndyCar more than Formula 1. I guess the early 90s was a little bit exception because there was a United States Grand Prix, at least in the early 90s in Phoenix. But then like before Indianapolis returned, I think there were some years that they didn't even release Formula 1 games outside Europe and Japan, because they knew that American audience would not be interested in playing as, Damon Hill or Michael Schumacher. Cyber virus for Atari Lynx. Okay, never heard of that. Super Bomberman for Super NES. The first one only. I think there was 5 games in the end, so the rest four games were released quite short time period. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of these Super Bomberman. It's the old school arcade Bomberman fun, but I want more like an adventure type of Bomberman game, like Bomberman 64. I don't think there was any games for Super NES that had like story mode. It's only this one screen only. Tile-based stages and not like general overworld. So yeah, it's just if you have played one Bomberman game, you have played them all. That's the problem with these old Bomberman games. Street Fighter 2 Dash. Was it called that? I think it was called Turbo. Yeah, this was sort of a rumor. I didn't know the final name yet. Disney's Aladdin. This September 1993. I think Aladdin was out already in 1992, so they were a little bit late. I would expect them to release the game at the same time as the movie game came out. Let me check. When did Aladdin came out? Yeah, it's November 1992, so they were already like a year late with the game. Fighting, Super NES. Successful conversion of Neo Geo titles like Fatal Fury and King of the Monsters. Yeah, I guess not all games should be called Street Fighter copycats. But for me, anything that has like this kind of bar system is like Street Fighter 2 clone. It even has Hadouken move, so how can you not call it a clone? Sega CD Lunar to Silver Star. Okay, wait a second. I have not played this. CD-ROM conversion with TurboGrafx RPG. The graphics look very it's like TurboGrafx, so it's almost like 8-bit style. It's not as beautiful game as you would see on like Chrono Trigger, Super NES, or Tales of Fantasy, but Play Fighter. Battle of Fourth Quarter. You haven't played Glade Fighter either. Bubble Bobble 2 or Game Boy. Sure. Was Super Game Boy already out? Maybe not. Okay, then we got the reviews, but I will continue reading the magazine later, so for now, thank you for watching, bye bye.